I'm good.
You get. I'm quite exhausted. I just came from Thailand from vacation and I'm completely overwhelming and exhausted. So I need another
The jet
vacation.
the jet lag must be quite bad, right?
Oh yeah, it's still coming. So you know. Okay, Sarah. So I just wanna because it's kind of funny because when I started following you on Instagram, I thought that finally I just found someone who is similar to me, but no, you are not. You are much better. You are much better. I thought that I do a lot, but no, you are like a top of notch. You are the best of the best. So I will give you some general question, but you can be very precise and go to any details you wish. So, for example, how has your life improved with changing the method of exercise? I mean, what way has your body changed, go better by incorporate a new techniques? And it doesn't have to be connected to day one yoga methods. It's a general question, but could you talk a little bit about your habits? And maybe I also want to ask you about maybe biohacking, the way of your thinking, the mindset, whatever you wish. It besides, for example, engage Latissimus dorsi. Do you have anything else, Sarah?
I know you said it doesn't have to be days teaching,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
um, I think because I started playing music from a very young age, I think that's a very, very big influence on my life. So I think in general, gearing myself towards things that I inherently love. And you have to understand, I'm from Singapore. Singapore is a society that, especially in my time, it's a little bit different for the kids now, but for us millennials and Gen Xers, it was a very different time where everyone was very, very much geared to academics and getting a well paid job. If you're not in the society of corporate life, you're not seen as someone who has been able to succeed, or they will think that you won't be able to survive. So already for me, as it was going through our school system and, like choosing to go to an arts college or a music college was something already very unconventional. So I would say that personally for me, the fact that I got to choose that and the fact that I had the ability to explore and really find my passion there, and going on to becoming a full-time musician is like it's really something that wasn't very common 20 years ago. And I think that because I know that I chose a very unconventional path, I had to very early on make very, very clear decisions that if this is what I want, this is something that I'm going to be very committed to and put a lot of my time into, which 22 years on, 23 years on, I'm still doing this every single day, almost every single day. I still am performing in the night industry. I teach at my alma mater. I'm a lecturer. So I think that knowing what I like and being very dedicated to it and knowing that I'm pretty good at it very early on is a very clear indication of what I gear myself towards. And I've always done fitness, I've always done sports. I played sports in school, but I was not really fantastic at it. I will honestly say this. I ran, but I'm even till now, I still run. I just came from a run with my friend, but I'm really not a good instinctive runner. I'm not someone who paces really fast or can go really long, but I can run, right? So when it came to doing exercise and working out, I realized I had a knack for it, but I wasn't like at the top tier. like my friends were. I have a lot of friends who train and they're like, wow, they're amazing, right? And then I started doing yoga and I did my TT, my 200 hours. And I realized that this is something that I really, really enjoy. And I seem to have a knack for it. And very early on, when I graduated, not ever having done yoga before, I just went straight into 200 hour. And when I started teaching, I started realizing that, hey, people are actually coming for my class. They seem to like it. So I think that it was one of those things that very early on I was drawn to it. I wasn't great at inversions. I wasn't fantastic at unbalances or deep twisting and, getting beautiful looking asanas, but I somehow seem to have a knack for being able to do flows and come up with interesting flows. And so again, the passion built. I started doing a lot of different courses. I did acro vinyasa. I'm certified for acro as well. And then I found it. And I will say that she came into my life at the perfect time. I had been following her for 10 years before that. I had been following her on Instagram for the longest time. And the minute COVID happened, I couldn't perform at night. I couldn't go out. So I was stuck at home and she started teaching online. I was like, this is the best time for me to start learning from her. And right from the moment I did Four Pillars and my first few courses with her, it just clicked. Because not only was the technique resonating with me, the ideas and the way that she views life is exactly how I envisioned what I wanted my mental capacity to be. I remember this very fondly. There was once we were training and she was texting Li Xian and I on the side. And she said, guys, there's been a storm. And basically, there was a tree that fell into my neighbor's house, and the electricity, this entire place has wiped out. And the first thing we did was like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, are you safe? And she's like, I'm fine, but I have no electricity. So I'm going to check myself into a hotel. I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue with classes. I'm going to try. In that moment, most people would be panicked. Most people would be freaking out. She has a ton of dogs and cats and her lovely partners in the house. And you would think that people would be like, oh, damn, guys, I can't do the class. Oh, I'm going to have to cancel for the rest of the week. I've got to set. She's like, guys, this happens. I'm just going to make the best of it. What are you going to do? Right? So, hey, I'm going to make classes continue. Don't worry, I'm safe. I'm just going to check into a hotel. If the reception or the Wi-Fi is not great and I drop out, you guys can take over the class for me. To have that capacity and that mental state in a case of what people would consider natural disaster and state of emergency and a bit worrying, there is always the ability to see something really bad happen or things are not going the way you want and just be like, that's nothing I can do. So I'm going to go with it. I'm going to roll with it and I'm just going to make it happen. And that is the biggest takeaway that I've taken from her in the last 6 years that I've been training with Day. Beyond all the techniques and the latissimus dorsi and serratus anterior engagements that help us do what we do, the reason why I can still show up for a handstand practice every single day, whether I feel good or I don't, is that when I know that I put my hands on the ground and if I kick up and I fall out, that's just today. I'm going to try and make it better. If it's not working out, what can I do to help it? And if it's really not working out for the day, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to wake up the next day and try again. Because it doesn't matter what it looks like. The fact is, you're showing up and you're showing up. And to me, that's the most important thing because every day you're going to be met with different things, right? So I work crazy, crazy hours. My schedule is insane. I do a million and one things. Um, I I do PT. I teach yoga. I I teach at a music college. I gig at night. I still have my cats. I have a family at home. I have my husband. I have to spend quality time with him. I have to spend time with my friends. And yet somehow I'm able to find pockets of time to do the things that I love for myself. but also because I know that I need to take care of myself in that way. So the working out in the gym is obviously for the betterment of my health. The doing the handstands is my mental health. It's my time to get away from everything. And if I let myself constantly be bogged down by why am I not getting this skill? I've lost my seated press once before, by the way. I didn't do it for a long time and I had to build it back. And I actually documented building it back and it came back to me within 2 weeks. But it was still 2 weeks of, hmm, will
And
it ever come back?
yes, Sarah, you just omit maybe one question is how has your body changed? Because, like 2 weeks, 2, 3 weeks ago, I did the X-ray of my spine, and what I discovered after 15 years of practicing Ashtanga, I was shocked. It's nothing seriously, but still it is seriously because I thought I am super healthy and my spine it should be flexible and just right, but it's not. So I'm shocked because yoga it should be for your health and it should give you some well-being, some wellness, but it's not. So I just because now I'm even now when I'm watching you, your deltoids they are huge. They are huge. I thought I have big muscles, but it's not. When I just compare myself to you, you have a huge. Give me your biceps. Can I see your arms? Oh my god! I thought I am huge. I'm a small person, so my
Mm.
muscle they are like I'm just look like a strong woman. But you can I ask you what weight you are and what high?
I am 163 cm, so that's about 5'4", I think. 5'4", 5'5", I think, about there. And currently I'm about 58 kilos, which is 130 pounds. I'm not sure what the conversion is. Yeah, I'm actually considered pretty heavy for a Singaporean Chinese girl. So I'm not tall, but I'm not super petite either. Um, I also have scoliosis, by the way, and I only discovered it last year. So I did an X-ray last year, and I have two C curves, and it's not terrible, but it's quite telling as to why I always have issues with sudden movements, and that's why I move so slow. I move at a glacial pace when I'm doing my flows, because if I move fast, my body just twists and turns and rotates out of position. It also doesn't help that because I play an instrument 3 hours a night on my left shoulder, so it's kind of tilted that way, right? Um, yeah, so that's why the training with Day also made such a huge difference for me, and she very much inspired me to do my PT cert because I really wanted to expand my knowledge on beyond just imbalances, like how do I strengthen things and how do I, help my body feel better. Because to be very honest, I'm turning 40 this year. I know that's not old, but that's not super young either. Um, and I have definitely felt a difference in my body in the last 3 years. I'm not as mobile. My body is not as malleable as it used to be. Yeah, and I do attribute my work, a lot of my work to that, but at the same time, also, I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm making sure that I take care of myself. That's why I say, for me, even though most people will be super tired seeing my schedule, I make it a point for myself to really put time to do all these things, not just because I want to look good, but because I want to feel like I am strong to hold my guitar for 3 hours a night, to be able to handstand and be comfortable with it. Yeah, because I think having imbalances in the body, whether it's structural or muscular, it can be very frustrating when you do things like handstands. I can honestly say that there are some days when I can't hold the straight line at all. And I know that it's got nothing to do with whether or not I'm pushing correct or whether my shoulders have the strength. It's really because my back is not cooperating with me that day. So I just come down and I just do stretch. I just reassess and, set my body right again with whatever I need to do.
So basically, if I'm wrong, just tell me. So you
Sure.
have less injuries now because you incorporate day one yoga methods, or it just because you just exercise, or you just do some, or you have less or more injuries.
I have, okay, I had a very freak accident last year where I hurt my right knee. Um, Still don't know how it happened. Did not, again, dwell too much on it. I decided to just do my physio and I recovered. That's great. But whether or not training with day makes me less injured, 100%. Like I said, I've been doing, so I did my TT in 2014. I've been teaching for the last 12 years. And from 2014 to 2020, before I met her, I started my handstand practice. And I was able to kick myself up. I couldn't quite hold. I could pike press before I could kick up. Um, but the one thing that kept happening for me was wrist pain, elbow pain, collarbone pain on both sides. I constantly had discomfort whenever I would do long holds, but I would still push through it. And it became like something that I just lived with. Like it was bad enough for me to notice that it was there, but it wasn't bad enough for me that I would wake up the next day and have loss of use in my arm. Um, and I have literally gotten so many pain points just doing inversions and arm balances. Um, but I didn't think that there was any other way because every teacher that I was trained with would be like, oh, you're just not doing enough wrist warm ups, that sort of thing. And I remember just before I started with her, um, just 2 weeks before I started with her, I actually got injured again doing a drill that I didn't understand from another teacher. Not their fault, but mainly just me not understanding what the issue was. Um, and yeah, I completely put my shoulder in a very awkward position, came out of it, came down, and was like, damn, I know I screwed something up. Yeah, so I rested for 2 weeks and then I did the first day of her four pillars, tried it out, and was like, holy crap, I don't feel anything. So pain free, injury free, because now I truly understand when I'm pushing for my body on my hands, I know that there needs to be a certain amount of engagement and mind body connection so that I can feel what needs to happen, right? And I take that same philosophy with me when I'm training legs, when I'm doing gym strength training. I never ego lift. I never move fast. I always do tempo things. Um, and if I don't feel comfortable in the tempo, then it means that I'm lifting way too heavy for myself right off the bat. So I back off. And I still regress a lot of drills that I do as warm up because my left shoulder is always screwed because of the guitar. So there are some days where some movements when I can do it like a full seated press, it may not feel great on my shoulder that day. So I just work on serratus and lat lifts,
And
things like that.
Sarah, do you do any kind of stretching? I don't mean about yoga, about anything else to mobilize you. I don't know, maybe lumbar, spine area. Because after I started to exercise with day, I stopped doing back bendings at all. Before I was like a freak. I did a
Me
lot.
too.
I did a lot, too much, and on the X-ray, my disc between T1 and L5 it's smaller than the others. So I was like, it's not degenerate. It's like it's smaller, and that's why I just figured it out. That's why I had the pain during the
Yeah.
Urdhva Dhanurasana, for example.
I
So
use,
yeah,
yeah.
So what you
I
did,
used to catch my heels. Oh, sorry. Go, go, go.
you did, yes. I have never, I maybe once in my life, but the pain was so awful that yeah, I just push myself more than I should, but still it was very painful and I stopped. So I just did regular Urdhva Dhanurasana, but nothing hype, nothing extraordinary. And I always blame myself about that. I should catch the heels, but I couldn't. And now I know why, because the disc is smaller than the others. Oh my god.
Yes. Oh no, I wouldn't catch my heels in Urdhva I would catch it in Kapotasana.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
So yeah, the full couple, right? Yeah. So I mean, it felt good because it came naturally to us, right? If it's easy to do back bends, and so you just kind of keep pushing. I definitely never ever felt like I could do it, but I never felt comfortable in back bends. I always felt it was very hard to breathe. And I know now why, because my curvature is right in my T12, and it will always make me cough. Like my lungs was just hitting my ribs. Like it was not a comfortable feeling. Like it was always stuck. And so yes, I definitely had to back off back bends. But I personally, for myself, even before I started training with Day, I kind of just was always already like practicing very hip extension focused, very chest opening focused, but not deep back bends. So I still do need that opening because I'm always in a slouch position because of the weight of my instrument. But I focus a lot on very neutral pelvic positions and a lot of support from the legs, from the glutes. Yeah, so back bends were never really uh, my greatest love, I would say. But that said, also, because of my scoliosis, I actually work with a physio who is a really good friend of mine now. Um, thank God I found her. She's amazing. And it really works because I've seen so many other physios in the past as well, and they're all clinical. And it helped to a certain extent, but because she's a sports physio and she does workouts herself and she does sports herself. So the movement is very, very intuitive to me and very similar to how we would approach working with people who have, let's say for instance, I have more opening through my left hip than my right hip. You wouldn't make them constantly open that left hip. You would make them focus on the right, correct? So same thing with me. There's a lot of one-sided things that I do that I have to kind of work on before I do my handstand sometimes, especially for my left side, for my left shoulder. If not, I'm always in a flat, like a slightly flattened shoulder position where it kind of pushes my ribs forward. So yeah, that's where I would feel it in my lower back because my rib is not staying down, things like that. But I wouldn't say I spend a lot of time stretching. I do a lot of my mobility work with a bit of resistance so that I can really make it a strength based thing. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm just thinking about I'm still think because I have one question. I know in some sense it's naive because we both know it doesn't work that you have a magic formula for instance. I know it's about the consistency, maybe discipline, but the consistency is the top clue to do the handstands. But still, I cannot believe if you just repeat, it will come. I think
Mm,
you have some special skills to do it because it's like I observe about myself. So when I start to exercise with Day, I had this I have this background from Ashtanga. So some of the figure was some of the form as some asanas, let me put in this way, was easiest than the others. And
mm,
it's still the same. So for example, Pincha Mayurasana is okay, yes. Just some of the movements are easiest still, but still I cannot do the the one which I want. So I just, no, it will never come. Yeah, I just stuck, and I observe you, and I'm still thinking like, no, she has something more. She's like a human being with extra skills. So she can do it, because I cannot believe, because for example, Day, she has spent like 15 years for achieving this kind of point of this level, yes. And for you, it took maybe how many, 4 5 years?
I did my seated press 2 years after training with her.
You see, you see, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Okay, now I can say I just exercise regularly. With day, it's maybe 6 7 months. I know it's not a lot, but still, I thought it will come faster. It will come faster. It will be like, it's like I will just start, and 2 months after I can do something. But not, I just develop my level of doing maybe pincha mayurasana in better way, but still I cannot do handstand to crawl to handstand. Do you have,
Um,
Sarah? You have something else. Do you really
one,
press yourself? Do you push yourself more than the other?
no. I think the difference is one, I am stubborn as hell. So I never just give up. I think that's one thing about me. If I don't get it that day, I'll tell myself tomorrow, and I'll tell myself tomorrow. I'll tell myself tomorrow. But the other thing I think that really works for me is that when I listen to what she's telling me to do, I really take every single cue. And the other thing that works in my favor, that works together with that, like the cues that she gives me are so, so helpful. But the other thing that helps is I think I have really good mind body connection. So my mental visualization and mental rehearsal of what I feel like I need to do or um, need to engage becomes very clear in my head. And as I'm doing it, I'm able to really focus and be in that space where I'm kind of talking to myself in my head and watching myself do it. So that's why I video myself a lot. I don't video myself just to post. I mean, that's the plus side, but I video myself so that I can see what I'm doing. And when I'm watching myself do it, I'm kind of feeling it in my body. So, like, the funny thing is, when I teach in Singapore, I teach on Saturday and Sundays. I teach the unbalanced inversion classes. And to be very honest, I'm not the coach that comes in and warms up 1 hour before class. I come in with them and I take them through the warm up that we do a day. And I take them to a quick flow. And as I'm teaching them, I am essentially watching them, but I'm also feeling in my body. So much so that every time that I'm demonstrating something, I'm doing it actually, I'm not warmed up. I haven't put my hands on the ground, but I feel extremely warm just from feeling what they are feeling. So I think that in that sense, the reason why it took me 2 years, it sounds like a long time, but we know that it actually is quite a short amount of time, right? To get from not be able to do a jump back properly. I used to like hit it maybe once every 10 times. To be able to do a seated press, it really came from one, she really perfected the ability to teach and cue that because she had been practicing it herself for so long. And two, I think because I could really feel and engage whatever she was trying to explain to me. But I could only get there after 2 years because for the first 1 year, I was not consistent with my practice with her. I would come in for a month and then I would stop for 2 months and come in for a month and stop for 2 months. So the only time that I started really seeing the difference was when I was consistently with her for a few months in a row. Yeah. And then that's when Lishan and I started training simultaneously and we kind of egging each other on and like Li Shan actually got her seated press before me, like I think a week before me. But seeing her get it, yeah, seeing her get it and like watching it in her body really helped me visualize also what I needed to do for myself. So I think it's a combination of the stubbornness, being like, damn, I'm not giving up. Days coaching, obviously, but also being able to connect mentally and physically to be able to make it happen. Yeah.
So, do you sometimes do you feel something like, for example, mentally foggy? Like, do your mind is, do you feel frustrated, for example? Do you stuck? Do you have procrastination? Do you have such a feeling? Because now I see that you are like a workhorse. You are just go, and I don't know. For I have a lot of doubts. Before any training with day, it's like a, no way. Once again, no. For me, it's like a mental pain. I just feel something that usually just they told me you don't need to do that, but I want to do that, but in the first minute of training, like maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes, I'm just, no way, I cannot. And then, after maybe five, it's okay, it's coming, everything is okay, everything is in order. But just before, I'm just I have so much doubt. Do you have such a feeling?
Absolutely. There are some days when I put my hands down and that first initial lift feels like I weigh 1,000 kilos and I'm like, I'm not going to get anything done today. But I always, again, like I said, I push past it and I'm like, we'll just make the best of it, right? And if today's a shit day, today's a shit day. Like, who cares? But at least I'm doing the work. And so I think because of the way we were training and because we were the very early batch, so there wasn't a lot like being showcased online, like what can happen with her training, right? I just did the drills. I just did the drills. I didn't have a goal in mind. I just wanted to do drills to get stronger. I just wanted to do ST to make sure that I could handstand without discomfort. And then I started kind of playing around on my own. And then she was doing skills classes, but in my own time after class, after ST, I would play on my own. And I started realizing, oh my God, I can see seated press, and instead of just a jump back, I can lift to a crow. It was things like this. And I started putting two and two together that it's because of those drills that I can now do these things. So it became very focused on, like when I would do tuck jumps, I would be like just doing tuck jumps. But then one day I was like, hey, these tuck jumps feel like I'm pressing into something. And I think it's just always keeping that open mind that something would happen from the drills. So if you're very focused on a very specific transition, then I think a good way to start breaking the cycle of I'm not hitting the transition, but rather what can I do to help myself hit the transition is think of all the drills combined that help to make the transition. Like, for instance, a jump back essentially is basically a lat lift into a serratus lift into a lean and fall back, a jump back. So that's basically it. If you skip past the lat lift and try to go straight to the serratus lift and go to the jump back, you're going to feel very heavy. But if you think of the lat lift first, translating into the serratus anterior lift, it makes things feel so much lighter. Just like how with a handstand to crow has to be basically handstand leading into a micro bend with a single leg coming down. And if you don't understand how to do that, then that's going to make your crow feel like it's dropping all the way down because it's going to feel very heavy on the hips and you're just going to fall to the ground. So it's a lot of breaking down the drills and understanding what the process is leading to that. I think that's one way that if you can hit it bit by bit. Okay, now I'm from the handstand, I'm going to that single leg bend arm position. Okay, then now I'm getting closer to bringing my knee into my chest. Then I'm slowly lowering down into crow. It makes it easier for you to gradually figure that out. Yeah. So even for myself, I'm still working on stuff. Like if you see my practice recently, I haven't been doing a lot of really, really crazy things. I've been really focused on trying to get my left shoulder to come back into position because I know that what I'm feeling now is a restriction because of my guitar. Because during COVID, when we were in lockdown, I was able to do a lot more crazy stuff. Let's just be honest here. I physically feel stronger, but my body feels way more stuck because of work. So that is kind of the frustration that I'm dealing with now. But I like to take away the word frustration and I use it more as I'm exploring my body a bit differently. And if I have these limitations now, when I meet people who have the same limitations or different limitations but somewhat similar, I can probably help them get through it, that sort of thing. So for me myself, I take that as a learning journey as a coach. Yeah. Sometimes we gotta climb back down to go back up, find a different route. Yeah, and I think one thing that, you know, I've been watching your practice since you started training with her. I see huge improvement.
Really?
I
I
see,
don't see.
yes,
I think I'm the same.
it's very normal to get sucked into that idea that you feel the same because you don't think you're hitting what you want to hit. But you don't realize that the fact that you can actually process as you're doing it and feeling like, okay, so now I need to do this, I need to do this is such a different person from who you were when you started 6 months ago. 6 months ago, you were just dropping and not understanding why. But now you can actually think in your head, oh, okay, I can feel myself losing the push here or losing energy here. And that's the big change. The fact that you can have that conversation with yourself as you're doing it goes to show that your strength and your endurance is very different. So yeah, just be patient with it. I mean, it's easy to say just be patient with it, but the fact that you're still going means that you have more commitment and more discipline than 99% of the world's population.
So
Because
yes,
if we,
yes, sir. So this is my maybe last question is why you do that? Because for me, I don't have a choice. I lost almost everything, or just left behind. I will, for example, Ashtanga stops being useful for me, so I will not going back to Ashtanga. Basically, CrossFit's okay, but for me, in some point, is just for sweat, for being sweat, in some sense, yes. And I don't want to compete with anybody else. And going to the gym, okay, I can just grow my muscle. But now, if I'm just thinking about why I'm doing it, it's because I just want to gain some skills. And also, I have no choice, nothing left. I have only this. So, yes, so I need to go with this kind of training and only left handstands, so I need to stay with this, for example, for rest of my life probably. But I just make a joke, but why you, in just general point of view, why you doing that? Why you just, I know it's about maybe about having a shape, maybe because it's a fun. Yeah, but why? In some, if you just go deep and ask yourself why still that, you have so many choices in Singapore, so many gym you can because now I live in the North Norway. We have a small gym without any like a professional trainer, professional coach. Everything is on mine choice, so this is, I think, the best opportunity to me just to do the handstands. But in Singapore you can do a lot of things, so why handstands, why this thing?
it's my happy place.
Oh.
It's where I really feel a lot of joy doing handstands and teaching it actually, doing it and teaching it both because I think, if anything, when we as humans learn to conquer and have control over our body the way that handstands allows us to feel, I think there's no greater sense of achievement than that, because you are literally standing on your hands and you are doing things that once upon a time was thought impossible. Like, don't even say just standing on your hands, like even crow. It took me 9 months to get crow when I first started learning it, and I think back now and I'm like, it really feels like I'm a child learning to walk all over again. And doing it as an adult and having that choice to leave it there and not continue and not deal with the frustrations, or just learning to be patient with it and slowly developing the skills and the patience and the endurance, it puts me in a much better mental space for a lot of other things in life. And that's why I say there's so much that I've learned through day, but the one biggest thing that I've learned is how to control this. Because the minute I can tell this to calm down and, like, it's not that terrible and it's going to be okay, I take it with me through every facet of my life. That's why when I'm standing on my hands in my room, whether I get a good handstand day or not, it doesn't matter, because to me, that is something that I know that I have taken the time to put into, and I know that I have good control over. And so it's kind of like resetting my brain for the rest of the day. I could be so tired for the day, but the minute I do a handstand, I feel like I have boundless energy and I can go for like another 24 hours. It does something to me very mentally. And yeah, it affects my entire being in a very positive way. And yeah, I mean, this is really what I say to a lot of the community who always reach out to me for advice, or like, they're asking me like, oh, do you think this was good? I'm like, who cares if your handstand is straight? You know, it will, if it looks nice, great. But do you understand that in the first place, you're even standing on your hands? Like, take the damn small wins. Take the fact that you can think about what you're doing while you're doing it. And you're not just like rushing through the motion and like feeling like you can't breathe and your arms are shaking. You're way past that point already. And that's such a huge win. Like, not many people can say that they can do that and think. Like, a lot of students that I teach in my classes, I will tell them, think about this. And they're like, I can't think about anything. I just don't want to fall on my face. I'm like, that's fine. Do you right now? That's it. If that's your place right now. But see where you are a few months from now and realize, are you struggling the same way? Or are you actually not struggling the same way? And to me, that is one of the most important things that we always oversee. We don't take into consideration that that is actually a very big indication that the drills and the skills and the time you spent is actually working.
This is a good question. This is a good sentence, yes, but it works, yes. Sarah,
Yeah.
you want to mention? Do you want to add anything else? What is your feelings? What is your thoughts?
No, I'm always happy to just chat about handstands.
It sounds so fun.
Yeah, I love it so much.
Really, I'm very curious about people, about, because usually you just meet people online and we don't have a time just to talk and
Yeah,
just give your experience and your thoughts. So for me it's like I'm very curious about, so what do you have, what do you think, what is your thoughts about why you're doing it? So
yeah,
because usually we don't have time, just to chat.
yeah, correct.
So Sarah, thank you for today. You don't want to mention anything? You don't want to add anything, like anything else?
No,
No.
I'm good. I think we covered a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So
Thank you so much for having me.
yes, Sarah, I'm very. I'm a big fan of you. Yeah, and it's like I didn't come to today because of her. I I started to exercise with her because of you.
Oh,
Yes, it's like a
I'm gay at it.
yeah,
Thank you.
because for me it was they was a big deal for me, and it was no, it's will be it's too tough, it's too much. But then when I saw you and how you explain all these things, all these steps, then I thought, yeah, this girl really convinced me. She really convinced me to go there. So you just do a good job. You're a good advertise.
I'm always her number one marketer.
Yeah. It's like yeah. So Sarah, thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Yes.
I hope you recover from your jet lag.
Yeah. It's like it's it's another story. It's not only Jaglag. It's about Asia. Let me
Everything.
yes. Sarah,
Thank you
next
so
time.
much.
Thank you. Bye
Have a
bye.
good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.